Hi, I'm Cal Anderson. Welcome to the Weekly Wrap. And I have a guest today, Antonio Gutierrez. And you know him as a face around Lynn. I'm going to tell you, but just let him tell you about who he is and what he does.
How you doing, Calvin? My name is Antonio Gutierrez. I'm the Lynn Youth Street Outreach Advocate / street worker. We do outreach with the youth, whether it's gang involved, at risk, high risk, from conversations to case management to outreaching on street level. We participate in sporting events, marches and things like that, along with Stop the Violence Lynn. And I'll talk a little bit more, as we go on about how LYSOA came about and what the passion behind it is.
So LYSOA stands for?
Lynn Youth Street Outreach Advocacy.
All right. Now, you've just been doing this with yourself and a few volunteers for the past how many years?
Almost 10 years. I literally, I'm the only one that does, that's been working with LYSOA, / with Teresa, who's the executive director, Teresa De Gregorio. She, it was my dream, and to give back. I wanted to give back to the to any community at that point, and I just so happened to be living in Lynn, and at the time there was some stuff going on, with the gangs and stuff like that, and a lot of the young people, and so there was a need, and I guess I kind of sort of filled it.
Well, I know a little bit about your background, and I understand that you're not a Lynn native.
No.
And you come from New York?
Yes, born and raised.
All right. Which
I was born and raised in the Bronx. I was born in the Old Lincoln Hospital in the Bronx, and partially raised between the Bronx and Washington Heights. My family is still there. My father came back in 1952, 53. Brought my mother a couple of years later. I was born in '64, and the rest was history.
Now, your advocacy comes from some personal experiences. Do you want to talk about that just a little bit?
I was gang involved at an early age, and not only was I gang involved, but I also, the drug trade. It was, product of in the 80s, the drug movement was real large in New York City. So I was a part of that, and that's how we funded. That's how we funded what the need was to maintain the gang that we were running with. So I went with it.
So fast forward to Lynn. What was your first inspiration for doing your youth outreach work?
I was listening. I mean, it was easy to read the newspapers and what was going on and the random shootings and stuff like that at that time that was going on. And, there was a lot going on the streets. A lot of rivalry was going on, and the lack of compassion for life among our youth was something. It was very sad to see, and for me, it was almost seeing for the first time where I was years ago, and I kind of sort of had gotten an understanding, and so I wanted to reach out and see where I could fit in and what I could do. And I just started talking to some of the young men. And there was an organization called ECHO, who at the time the city had gotten Charles E. Shannon money, and they created an outreach position. That was way before LYSOA. So somebody threw my name in a hat. I got a phone call, and I interviewed, and here I am.
See what happens when you get a reputation and they say, here's somebody that's been there, done that, and he could be a resource.
Man, did I do a whole lot of walking in the city of Lynn.
Now, when you mention kids at risk, what do you mean by that? And where do you find your clients? Are they on the streets living? Are they on the streets just killing time?
Actually, nowadays,
are they homeless?
Nowadays, they a lot of times I don't even have to, 9 out of 10, I don't even have to go looking anymore. They come looking for me. They've either heard about me, through an article or through something like this, or they've talked to their friends, and their friends is like, listen, let's go down and see Antonio. I know somebody that will understand what you're going through, and regardless of where they are, I try to meet them where they're at in life.
So what type of resources or advice do you propose? I mean, do you provide role models, services?
We
and
provide.
a different future?
Yes.
Or?
Well, one of the biggest things that you hear from a lot of our young people is, man, I want to work. Now, you know that you can't get a 14-year-old a 40-hour-a-week job, right?
I know. When I was 15, I was limited to what I could do.
Exactly. So the hours, still today, it's like that. You can only, because of your age, they want you to go to school. So a lot of times, I try to do an even trade, as we call it. You go to school, bring me a report card, and I'll work with you and try to find you some sort of employment. With a lot of the local restaurants, like the Burger Kings and the McDonald's. Shaw's usually hires 14, 15-year-olds, but you only get a certain amount of hours. But still, to them, it's a big deal because it's the beginning of learning independence.
Right.
In other words, earning their own money. And one of the things that I talk, because I'm a realist, I don't, my language with them is completely different from how me and you are talking. Their language is, at times I gotta even ask, like, what does that mean? Because the language changes. Just like they're retired.
I feel older
Just
too.
like they're retired. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, what did you just say? It's like, but we have fun with it. You know what I mean? And I always say I haven't worked a day in my life in almost 10 years.
We're almost at the end of this program. I'm going to forego our reading and talking about headlines plucked from the dailies. I'll save some for next week because we're so interested in what you're talking about. Now, the important thing is LYSOA now does have an address. Now,
Yes.
let's talk about that and your fundraising.
Yes.
This is what's important for the mission and for our
Yes.
future.
Well, we
got 1 minute left.
We've been very fortunate. Our new location, we cut the ribbon not too long ago, is 312A Union Street. It's a storefront.
Right.
You can't miss it. You'll see a bunch of T-shirts from Stop the Violence to LYSOA T-shirts right in the front. Come on down, come on in. We have a lounge area with Xbox, flat screen. We got an air hockey table in our classroom.
Do you have any fundraising opportunities?
Yes, we have.
Let's get
We
to
got
that.
the Patriots raffle. The annual Patriots raffle, where you get to go with me and Rick Starbird. He is the president of the board. Season tickets, tailgate before, tailgate after. This year we chose the rematch of Super Bowl with the Falcons. $20 a ticket. Find me. Find us on Facebook, LYSOA Facebook, and also on myself, Antonio Gutierrez. Drop the Z, just leave it at E, and you can find me, and you'll find LYSOA. Teresa's also on there. We have that in our second annual gala, where our keynote speaker this year is Sheriff Coppinger.
Absolutely.
Whom we did a lot of work with early on when I started. We built a relationship.
Well,
So, Calvin, thank you.
Antonio, thanks for coming in. This has been a great opportunity for you to explain to the people at large.
Yes.
Where LYSOA has been and where you're coming and where you're going in the
And
future.
we're going to keep it moving.
Keep an eye on this program and have empathy for...
For our young people.
Absolutely.
For our young people.
Now, do you have it in your heart to bring us home?
Yes, I do.
All right, thanks.
Until next time, in every way and every day, keep loving Lynn.